Walker, this time it's wide left. St. Arnaud all the way back to the end line. He's going to come out of the near side of the end zone here. Gets out across the 10, up across the 20, up across the 30, near sideline down to the 45. Makes a move at the 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Ian St. Arnaud. No flags. And the second time this afternoon, the York Lions miss a field goal. Ian St. Arnaud returns it for a touchdown.
This is Marshall McRae. He's got some room around the corner. He leaps and he's in for the touchdown.
Welcome in, welcome back. Week 5, Connor, we are over the hump. We are on to the backstretch, all guns blazing towards the playoffs. And this week, the marquee matchup, I feel like we're repeating teams, but we got such good scheduling this year. Guelph heading down the road to the Kingston Queens Gales, Limestone City, however you want to say it. Guelph is coming here to make a statement. They're coming here to play. And with this 2-quarterback system and the way that 3-headed monster in the backfield runs, Connor, Queens better be on their P's and Q's like they were last week on defense, or this could be a barn burner.
Oh man, this is certainly going to be or expected to be, I guess, a great football game, which is why we have it labeled as the marquee matchup. And I'm going to loop back here in a second, but really, Wade, all of the games this week in the OUA could have been up for grabs for that marquee matchup spot. There are rivalry games to be had. There's 2 other really good games going on in the conference, but we are talking Guelph Queens off the hop here. And you mentioned that 2-quarterback system that Guelph is coming to the Limestone City with. And I certainly think for Queens' sake, that is going to be something to watch. But for Guelph's sake, for Guelph's offensive sake, this Queens defense is no joke. They get after the quarterbacks. They make them uncomfortable. They put them in situations where they're tossing up turnovers. This is a very tough Queens defense. And it's going to be a fun one to watch between these two.
Yeah, Connor, we've got the number 1 rushing attack in the conference going against the number 3 rush defense. And conversely for Queens, Connor, a team that has built their identity over the last 4 or 5 years of pounding the football and running the ball at will and until almost you want to be sick because you're like, oh my God, they're running the football again. Can we please stop? Like, if you're an opposing defense, I'm sure they have made people say no mas at some point over the last 5 years. Guelph's run defense is second ahead of the Queens defense. So in terms of yards against per game, now I know Guelph has played teams like McMaster and Laurier, which like to throw the ball a lot, but certainly looks like it's going to be the battle of run defenses and who is going to fall first in that matchup.
Yeah, Queens is coming off a game where they ran the ball 25 times. They did so with success against that Ottawa unit, just
and
over
without
5.5
Jared
yards
Chisari
a carry.
too.
And no, that's a great point. Without Jared Chisari in that game, so this is going to be a really interesting game because I think it is going to be the battle of the ground games, the battle of the defensive fronts, and then what I think is going to make the difference is which quarterback or which quarterback system, I guess in Guelph's case, is going to be able to hit their shots downfield, is going to be able to sneak those plays in behind the coverage units on these defenses. Is Alex Freaking going to be able to take this game over and throw 1 or 2 touchdowns in behind the Guelph defense? Is it going to be Tristan Aboud that's firing darts to his guys in the end zone, or even Marshall McRae, because we damn well know he can throw the ball a little bit too. He's flexed that arm just a touch. So I do think it's going to come down to, I think the majority of this game, what I'm trying to say, is going to be dominated by the ground games and the defenses, and then it's going to come down to the quarterbacks in this one being able to hit their shots and find their spots in the opposing defenses.
Don't call me a betting man, but if I was to place money on this game, Connor, there's one distinct bet that I would hit, and it's anytime touchdown score, Marshall McRae. 12 straight OUA games. This man has scored a touchdown. Pretty sure he's only played in 12. So every game, this man finds the end zone. I do want to say, Connor, for the game, gonna get a decent wind, 24 kilometers an hour. We talk about this all the time. It feels different when you're in Richardson Stadium, having that wind swirling. So if the game does come down to kicks, It could be maybe it falls into the hands of Ian St. Arnaud. Maybe it goes through the foot of one of these two talented kickers. But regardless, I think this marquee matchup is bound to be a playoff caliber game and maybe a playoff preview, depending how these two teams finish down the stretch.
If Ian St. Arnaud goes for 4 missed field goal return touchdowns in 3 games, the entire OUA is going to lose their damn mind, and for good reason. But you're right. Like it is highly possible. Kingston is a windy city. Richardson Stadium, you've played there. I've played there. Anybody who's played there knows on any given day, the wind feels like it's coming at you from every angle. There's no getting out of it. You know, it's coming. If you're kicking into it, you turn around, you're like, oh, good, we got some relief going into the next quarter here. Nope, you're kicking into it again. But I do think that's a really good variable that you bring into this one. Now, I do think we got to move on. There's so many other great games to get into here. The next game on our schedule that I want to talk about, that you want to talk about too, I'm sure, the McMaster Marauders and the Carleton Ravens. And we said it in the recap show that this was going to be a darn good football game. And we really did think that this was also going to be one of, if not, potentially the best game of the week when all said and done. We got two really good quarterbacks going at it in this one, two really electrifying offenses and defenses that are great to boot in this one too. So I think Matt Carleton is going to be one of these games to keep highlighted on your OUA calendar if you're a fan.
Yeah, and the Keegan Hall, everyone knows, is going to throw the football. To me, big one here for Carleton is the health of Othman Braum, their free safety. Did not play last week. Not that they really missed him in that game against Toronto, but there was some injuries at the quarterback position for the Varsity Blues, and I think this Keegan Hall led offense is certainly going to stress all of the different rules, but at the same time, this Carleton defense, they are fast, they are athletic. It's everything a typical Carleton Ravens defense is.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to present a challenge to Keegan Hall, but it's certainly not one that he hasn't seen before. As for the other side, it might be my favorite player in the OUA, Connor, with Elijah Barnes. I
I
said this on
know.
Tuesday. He might be the best story. He's fourth in the OUA for passing, and he's above
Yeah.
guys like Vreekin and Tristan and Boone and both the Windsor quarterbacks. So I think Elijah Barnes has to kind of get that statement win. They've been hanging around with some really good teams. Obviously, they got going against Toronto last week, but if he takes out Mac here and kind of puts them into the toaster almost to say your season's pretty much cooked, I think this one could be a statement win in the young career of Elijah Barnes.
I agree. I think Carleton as a team has an opportunity to do something here. And I think a lot of that is going to be charged by their defensive unit. Onyeka is, not only the leader in sacks in the OUA right now, he's the leader in the country in
Talk about a
sacks.
game for him.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, man. Like
If you want one game
he's
for
such a
Ife,
game breaker. He's so fun to watch. He's such a dominant player. And I do think that Mac's offensive line is going to have to be really, really tight in this one. Yeah, Keegan Hall is the number one passer in the nation, number one in passing yards in the nation. But if Ife and the gang can come in and make his day really, really uncomfortable, they got a chance to be the electrifying force in this game, to be the catalyst that could drive them to a win. And same thing for the other side of the ball in this one. Like I just mentioned that Keegan Hall, and we've been talking about it all season. Keegan Hall is had a monstrous season thus far in the OUA year, in the U Sports year, but they need to start delivering on those wins. And I do think that they've got an opportunity to go down to the nation's capital and do this as well. But it's going to take a really good football game against a really damn good defense.
sneaky game breakers before I move on from this one.
Yeah.
Interior defensive line pressure from Carleton Clark and light body. If they can keep Keegan pushed back in the pocket and not allow him to step up and evade the rush, Xavier Malone's going to be a part of that too at middle linebacker, but Ife could have a historic day. Kind of like the other time you and I saw Carleton McMaster play, there was a huge day from the defensive line for the Ravens. So
Yeah.
light body Clark, certainly the game breakers, but Ife might be taking all of the headlines home with this one.
Remains to be seen, but I'm looking forward to that one on Saturday for sure.
All
Rivalry
right,
games.
Connor.
We
Yeah,
got
let's
two of
go.
them. Where do you want to go?
Let's go Battle of Waterloo first.
All right.
Obviously, Laurier coming off a huge program win. This is kind of like your typical don't fall asleep game, but we've heard about this enough times. The Waterloo Warriors being so close in proximity to the Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawks. They know each other. They know what to expect. This is a big personal game for them. Excited to see how this one turns out.
Yeah, me too. And I do think you hit the nail on the head here. I think Laurier is coming off a huge win. They're now the number one ranked team in the nation. A lot to prove right now, and don't fall asleep at the wheel. If you're Laurier, keep your foot on the gas. You got to come out and have a dominant win. I think in this one, I think do not take your foot off the gas. Do not let Waterloo sniff you in this one if you're Laurier, I think. Traditionally these Battle of Waterloo games are really fun. Coach Burt always has something up his sleeve over there with the black and gold in these games. So I'm
Coming
looking
off
forward
the
to an
bye
entertaining
week.
ball game. Yeah, man. Coming off a bye week, a lot of time to plan. I'm looking forward to a fun one over there in Waterloo. Let's move on
Okay,
though.
hold
One
on, hold
more
on.
rivalry game. Okay, sorry.
Connor has a hot take for
I have a
the Red and Blue
huge
Bowl
take for
here.
this one.
Toronto, York. I am going to step back on this one and let him go because it is my alma mater. So,
How do
Connor,
you okay, no, hold up, time out. I got a question on this. So how do I get forced into talking about the Panda game every year, but the Red Blue game comes around and you're just like, no, I'm gonna bow out of this one. I'm just gonna kind of take a step back.
because I don't want my name attached to your lunacy.
That's fine. That's fine. I will not associate your name with my
No
hot
matter
take here
what
for
we
the
think, you
York
still
Toronto
pick
game, but
Ottawa every year. So I don't know
I have
what
to. Are you
exactly.
gonna pick against Toronto every year in this game? No, you're not. You're gonna
No.
rock with your alma mater. Yeah, absolutely. And hot take, I'm taking Ottawa again in 2 weeks here, so buckle up. 3 weeks, I guess. A month? I don't know. My
Uh,
calendar math is all over the place right now. Let's get back to the now though. My hot take, piping hot take. I think that the York Lions have a chance to come out and stun the Toronto Varsity Blues in this one, get their first win of the season, the first program win in the Dexter Janke era. They've been playing great football, sans the 29-0 shutout against the Windsor Lancers last week. But I really do like everything that I've seen from York so far this season. They're doing a lot to convince me that they're trending in the right direction. And I think given the tape that we've watched, the tape that we've seen, the things that they've done early on in the season this year, there's no reason they can't come into this one and compete and win the game. I think if they keep the course and continue to believe in what Coach Janke's doing with this team, there's no doubt in my mind that they can come in and win this game. And I do think that it's going to be a task that they come in and accomplish. I think we see a fired up York Lions team, and they come in a rivalry game and maybe snag the first win of the season against an opponent in a big game.
okay, I just want to mention, like, yes, the building blocks have been there for York. This would be a cool game to see Coach Janke get his first win. At the same time, on the other side, if you're Coach DA, you beat your old team in Waterloo, then the next couple weeks have not been stellar
Yeah.
as a unit. Do you think that they on the Toronto side are starting to feel the pressure of, here comes this new and improved York team? We got to really turn it up and take care of business here at home.
Oh, 100%. 100% think that has to be going through the Varsity Blues mind and Coach DA's mind in this one. I think everything that I said about York being fired up for this one equally applies to Toronto. This is a rivalry football game. If you are not excited to play a team that you do not like, I don't know what you're doing on that field
Wrong
on
sport.
Saturday. Yeah, honestly.
All right.
So yeah, I think everything applies for Toronto there too. Again, I'm excited for a competitive ball game in this one.
Quick talk about Ottawa Windsor.
Dude,
Windsor
this
off
is
the
this is
York
the
win. Ottawa
Spider-Man
on
meme,
the
isn't
road.
it?
Uh, Hand the
Just
ball to Charles Asselin for the fifth time this year.
yeah.
For Windsor, let's get some pass game going. It's gonna be a tough secondary to do it against, but
They showed they could do it last week against a pretty stout York front seven. So
story of the week, I think, is going to be turnovers by either offense. Whoever has the more turnovers,
yeah.
that team's probably not going to be winning the football game. Like, if I throw 3 picks, you're probably going to beat me. So with that, Connor, check out the games at OUA.tv, live and on demand, all for free. You just need to sign up and watch any game that you please. As for Connor and I, at Connor R. O'Neill, at Wade Zank, at CF Perspective, take care, enjoy the playoff caliber football, the rivalry games, and everything in between.